When Jimmy Uso super kicked Roman Reigns, the leader of the bloodline, at Night of Champions, it marked the beginning of the collapse of the bloodline as we know it, one of the most dominant factions in WWE history. But this isn't just a faction, it's a family. It was a long time coming, but it was also far from the first time that a superstar betrayed their own family members. In WWE, starting with the bloodline and going back much further, this has happened, and the level of emotional betrayal that we see is well documented. Jimmy Uso attacking Roman Reigns was a long time coming, 972 days to be exact. The beginning of the Bloodline story saw Roman Reigns pulling the strings so that he could defend the WWE Universal Championship against his cousin, Jey Uso. At Clash of Champions, the now villainous Roman Reigns cemented he was a bad dude when he brutalized Jey Uso, something he had never done before. The betrayal was so brutal that Jimmy Uso, Jey's brother, had to throw in the towel to prevent it from getting any worse. He was still injured at the time, and it didn't stop Roman Reigns from his onslaught, putting him in a chokehold that forced Jey to say the words, "I quit," and end the match. That's how the bloodline got going, just being beaten and manipulated into submission. Unlike the other instances on this list, this actually resulted in Jey joining the bloodline. That was a matter of being loyal to the family. This one was about being disloyal and also jealous within your family, as Owen Hart infamously turned on his brother Bret the Hitman Hart back in 1993. At this time, they were aligned. They were brothers. They had shown their establishment as being a part of one of the most famous wrestling families of all time. But Bret was already established as the single star and a former world champion who had just headlined a WrestleMania that year. A mishap at Survivor Series involving the two brothers, Owen and Bret, allowed Shawn Michaels to eliminate Owen, who almost attacked his brother. It was only family intervention that could keep them apart, and Bret repeatedly refused Owen's demands of a match. There seemed to be a peace settlement within the Hart family over the holiday season, but things would come to an ultimate breaking point at the 1994 Royal Rumble when Owen and Bret challenged the Quebecers for the WWE Tag Team Championships. And it fell apart when Hitman's knee simply gave out on him. Owen showed no sympathy and assaulted his older brother, leading to one of the greatest opening WrestleMania matches of all time. While Owen won that occasion, later on in the same night, Bret Hart would win the WWE title from Yokozuna in the main event at Madison Square Garden. And he would beat his brother later that summer in one of the greatest steel cage matches of all time at SummerSlam 1994. I was there. It was awesome. And I watched it with my little brother, who has not betrayed me. Dominic Mysterio, on the other hand, betrayed his own family, his own WWE Hall of Fame father. While there were some early signs of Dominic growing frustrated, being in the shadow of his father, even, winning tag team titles with him, there was always just something there. And it came to a head when Rey Mysterio chose Edge over his own son to face the Judgment Day at the Clash of the Castle 2023. Despite the win for Rey Mysterio and Edge, a frustrated Dominic blew a gasket and gave old Uncle Edge, rated R superstar, a low blow and then took out his own father. Yes, it built to that, and then he joined the Judgment Day faction. This led to months and months and months of Rey Mysterio being mocked and tortured by Dominic and the Judgment Day. How much could Papa Mysterio tolerate from his ungrateful son? Would he rip the silver spoon out of his mouth and smack him in the face with it? No, that involved Rey Mysterio's wife striking her son, and then here comes Rey Mysterio, punch him in the face. That's it, we're on, you and me, father versus son at WrestleMania. And this was another match I saw live that simply lit up the stadium in Los Angeles. Rey managed to beat the heck out of his son with some help at ringside from Bad Bunny, but considering how important Dominic has become within the Judgment Day faction, along with the very manipulative whispering devil in his ear, Rhea Ripley, we'd say that things have turned out pretty good for him and pretty good for Rey Mysterio. He's in the Hall of Fame. Things did go bad for the Bella Twins in the summer of 2014. At SummerSlam, Stephanie McMahon defeated Brie Bella thanks to her sister, Nikki Bella, assaulting her to gain favor with the higher-ups in the WWE. You sold out your own sister. What a total diva you are. It unfortunately, though, kickstarted one of the cringiest stories in wrestling that year and kind of caused both of them to lose some momentum, including the infamous promo where Nikki told Brie she wished she had died in the womb. Yeah, that wasn't very PG. Nikki even defeated her sister at Hell in a Cell in a match that stipulated the loser would become the winner's personal assistant. After Brie helped Nikki Bella defeat AJ Lee at Survivor Series 2014, they reconciled with no further explanation for what happened all those months earlier. Yeah, let's just kind of sweep this under the rug. Nikki may have felt like she was getting rid of some dead weight, and that's probably the same thing that happened with Charlotte Flair, who felt the same type of scenario less than 2 years later when she berated her beloved father, WWE Hall of Famer Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Flair had been accompanying her to the ring for quite some time, even helping her become the first Raw Women's Champion at WrestleMania 32. Less than 2 months later, she had Dana Brooke as her protege and decided that she didn't need her father anymore, humiliating him and ending her alliance with her father. This is Ric Flair you're doing this to, Charlotte. Do you know who your dad is? It did come full circle a few years later when Flair betrayed Charlotte on Raw to help Lacey Evans pick up the win over her. That storyline didn't really go anywhere, and Lacey Evans at one point announced that she was pregnant, with WWE hinting that the father was Ric Flair. Yeah, that didn't get resolved. Flair himself even said he didn't have an issue with the story, but Charlotte did. And it's probably not such a bad thing that we didn't see that one play out. We've seen it play out many, many times, two family members coming together with a familiar chemistry and becoming a successful tag team. And that was the case with one of the best tag teams of the Ruthless Aggression era, Chavo Guerrero and Eddie Guerrero. Now, they had real success in those early primetime days of SmackDown, becoming the tag team champions twice. However, they would lose those titles to the Basham brothers, after which serious animosity brewed up under the surface from Chavo's side. Chavo was always in the shadow of Latino heat, his uncle Eddie, and once things went downhill, they went down fast. Chavo turned on an already beaten down Eddie and attacked him. It led to a match at the 2004 Royal Rumble, where Eddie not only got one over on his nephew, but he even busted him wide open. That's right, this was a battle of blood, and now blood was flowing on the ring. There's no arguing that the Hardy Boys will have their place at some point in the WWE Hall of Fame, either as single stars or as a tag team. But the rivalry against one another was a brutal one and a very personal one that started in early 2009 at the Royal Rumble when Matt attacked his own brother, allowing Edge to pin Jeff Hardy and win the WWE Championship. Matt Hardy continued the mind games, trying to lure Jeff into a big brother versus brother showdown, suggesting that he was the one behind a series of misfortunes in Jeff's recent past. The pyrotechnics blasting him in the face during an entrance, a fire at his actual house a year prior, his dog passing away. We're taking out dogs now? A mysterious attack that caused Jeff to miss Survivor Series? Yeah. And eventually it led to the two brothers of Team Extreme to get extreme and bring their feud into a big anything goes match at WrestleMania, where Matt Hardy actually won the Extreme Rules match. Jeff did have the last laugh when he defeated his brother in an I Quit match a month later at Backlash. What made the thing even odder is that Matt reconciled with Jeff months later in the summer and took back all of his comments, claiming that he shot pyrotechnics into his brother's face and the dog and the house fire. Yeah, that was nothing. That was nothing. The McMahon family may run WWE, but that doesn't stop them from a few blockbuster billion-dollar betrayals of their own. Yes, given how involved they are on WWE television, it's kind of expected. The first one came when the princess herself, Stephanie, was introduced to WWE television in the Attitude Era during the Ministry of Darkness storyline. Yes, as they tormented Vince McMahon, she was kidnapped, not once, but twice, the second time resulting in her being nearly sacrificed and married to The Undertaker in a black mass ceremony. Despite all this satanic panic, Vince McMahon ultimately revealed himself as the higher power behind the Ministry of Darkness. So that meant he was behind his own daughter being kidnapped and almost sacrificed? Yeah, this is what he would do to get power and chase down Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stephanie McMahon got a measure of revenge later that year as she betrayed her own father and helped Triple H defeat him at Armageddon. Yeah, helping her and her future real-life husband gain full control of the WWE. Shane McMahon would find himself on the opposing end of his father even before the Invasion storyline saw the elements of WCW and ECW invade WWE. Linda McMahon, Vince McMahon's wife, also betrayed Vince at WrestleMania 18 after he began to have an open affair with Trish Stratus, while many people thought she was in a coma. Yes, this is pro wrestling. All of those things happened on television. Linda McMahon, in this comatose state, was in the ring and was able to give the CEO of WWE a low blow, effectively taking out the genetic jackhammering grapefruits of Vince McMahon to help her son Shane win the match at WrestleMania. Once again, those are all real things that happened in a pro wrestling match. This was only the start of the waging war within the family as the acquisition of WCW was complete, Shane and Stephanie representing the alliance of ECW and WCW, while Vince McMahon represented WWE and eventually just won the war like we knew he was going to the entire time. Do we miss any of these family betrayals? Is there one that we're missing? Let us know in the comments below.